Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Happy to hump day. Let's make sure we're transmitting and so forth. Let's double check all this. Seems like everything is good. Good. Just double check. There. And let's see. Let's see if we hear. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try that again. So it's Wednesday, happy to hump day. It's the middle of the week, and we are, seeing the markets. The stock markets rallied yesterday, and now today they seem to be backing off. We're seeing, some type of correction again. Don't really expect much out of this market. I just think that they're just going to go sideways and chop around, and not counting the politics that we have to deal with at the same time. Oh yeah, I hear myself there. That's good. There's Robin. Hey, Robin. So the markets overall, we saw was it crude oils getting smacked down last we saw. Let's just show you that real quick. We'll show it to you. Let's go over to J4X and see what Brent is doing. I'm sure Brent is rolling over just like ours is. Yes, look at that nice big slide there going on down in the 108s. And let's check out over on the spot contract of crude oil of August. Yep, down at its lows at 103. Wow, it's like a $5 arbitrage there. You can see we've been in daily sells in that product for, what is that, since here, right there. What's that? About 8 days ago? 7 days ago? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days ago. And we've been in the weekly sell since the beginning of this week. Somewhere in the middle of last week it went into the sell, and you can see it's sliding down also at the same time. So what else can we say about it's nice to see energy drop in value. You would think that's probably what was the motivation behind the stock market. They probably saw front runner, 300 points. I sent something over to one of the traders this morning. They were saying to me, one of the old traders, he was like 80 some odd years old, and he said, I thought that they could hold for a day or two. And I thought to myself, no, not really. 800, a 600 and some odd point up day is not anything major anymore. When you're at 30,000. So we're talking on Dow Jones Industrial terms, So I fired back, saying something like, 300 plus points in a day up or down doesn't really mean anything. That's just noise. If it gets to like 500 or 600 points, or 500, right around 500 points, well, it's an aggressive, noisy day. And then, if you're down like, 500 or 600, that fits that category. And then the third category I said was pretty much the 1,100 to 1,200 point move in either direction. Then to me, that means something's going on. They're actually getting something done. So, in other words, the bears are coming in or the bulls. So, that is how I see it. And so, yesterday the stock market takes off, and all of a sudden this morning a lot of people were surprised. Well, a 600 point move is not exactly, break the bank type of attitude as far as I'm concerned. And so that's where we kind of stand at the moment. There you go. Hey, Jordan. And hey, Metho 2000. How you doing? So you can see this morning, they come in, they sell hard, the oil. Obviously, those sellers knew it. So they were selling the stocks probably, too, at the same time yesterday. Because they knew they were going to come in. We're looking at some decent-sized number there. We're looking at if that's right, they were taking it up last night, and now they're slamming it down. So it settled. I know that, I guess the July contract probably went out. That's what it was. That's why we're at the August contract at this point. So the July contract, maybe it was a delivery situation. Maybe there was too much inventory. Maybe people didn't want to take delivery, and so they pushed it back out the door. We've seen that where the peak inflation? Nah, I don't think so. I think we still have probably 6 months away from peak inflation, something like that. That's what I'm thinking. I think they're going to try their best to find ways to bring down costs, but it's really hard to do because things have gone, say, from $1.50 to $2 a gallon to like $5 a gallon officially across the United States. So it's gone up like 200% plus. And if they bring it down to $4, it's still too high. We've been seeing our inflation has been growing. That's what the big question in America right now is: how did the Federal Reserve miss this? How did they miss this? How did they allow us to get up into the 8% area before they finally realized that it was not, what do they call it, transitory? That is in a lot of conversations in responsible areas. That is a big question. How did they miss that? And that's one of the problems is that, matter of fact, today is so noisy. Matter of fact, that old trader sent over something here about the overnight market weakness. 4 Fed governors speak today. So Powell starts in about 20 minutes, 23 minutes. And then, I'm sorry. The Fed governor of Philadelphia speaks in about 23 minutes, 22 minutes. Then a half hour later, the Fed chair speaks, Powell, in front of Congress. And then at lunchtime, the Chicago Fed, Evans, speaks, 3 hours later. And then at 1:30, basically 40 minutes later, the Fed Governor Barkin from Richmond and the Philadelphia Fed speaker also speak again. So it says here, matter of fact, Fed Governor Barkin raises rates quickly as possible, and Philadelphia Fed Governor speak. Yeah, so they speak again at together. So he must be, the Philadelphia Fed must be, they must be at a conference. So I think that's probably, and he's probably the opening speaker. And then from there, in the afternoon, there must be 2 Fed governors that get together at that conference. Harker is one of them, and Barkin is the other. So, boy, Harkin and Barker. Harker and Barkin, or Barkin and Harker. Where did they get these? Oh, my God. Wonder who's... it should be very entertaining in the end result. All right, so that's where we stand at this point. So... I don't see, they're going to talk about inflation and they're going to talk about what they're trying to do about it. But I'd have to say, in the end result, is I don't, I just don't see it. I just don't see inflation backing off until the start of next year at this point. Now, they're going to do all kinds of twist turns and fun, and they're going to do what they can. But as far as I can tell, we probably won't see a real drop in inflation until we get into 2023. Solely because if what happens is that if the government lowers taxes on oil and it gets down to 4 or 4.5, from 5, that's not enough to stop the inflation. The inflation has gone from 1.5 to 5. So it'd be different if whatever they could do, they could bring it back to 1.5. They're not going to be able to do that. So, not with the way the policies of Mr. Biden are. Mr. Biden's very unsupportive of basically growth and capitalism. So as much as he says I'm a capitalist, he keeps on doing things that are socialist. His policies are socialist. So that's the classic. It reminds me of Joe Stalin, not Joe Biden. Joe Stalin used to say, it doesn't matter who votes, it matters who counts the votes. So in other words, everybody can vote, but then we're going to make sure that when we count them, they come out the way we want them. So that is that's why I don't think we're going to see inflation really peak out until 23, because by then the House of Representatives would have changed, the government would have been changed, and Mr. Biden can't do as much damage as he's doing now. So, all right. From there, we let's see. We basically got our opinion out, and just to show you the stock market real quick, we'll jump over to the intraday chart right there. You see the S&P is down. Was that 63? The Tech 100 is down 205, and let's see. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 455. So, they're giving up 2/3, if not more, of what they did yesterday. All right, let's jump over to the currencies, because we are a currency webinar. And let's see what's going on with the currencies. Here we are. There's the dollar index. Let's move that over a little bit, like so. Oh, that was Brent. That's right. So let's get to the dollar index, see what they're doing with that. There it is. You see the dollar is a little firmer there this morning. You can see that. And over on Chicago Quants charts, it is. There it is. It's trying to lift up also. You see that right there. See our green line has pierced through right there. And you can see it's pierced on J4X the same way. They've both pierced up. This is trying to curve, and obviously we got a little red dot going on, but we'll see how long that lasts. And it's still in that weekly buy from here. So they've come down and tested that area right there and turned it back up again. It'll be interesting to see if there's even more buying going on. And let's look at it on individual pairs trades. Let's take a look at the Swiss. I think the Swiss closed in a daily buy yesterday. There it is right there. No, it did not. Or did it? Yeah, it did. It closed in a daily buy yesterday. But the weekly is still down. So there's still pressure on it, and you can see it's dropping, gaining against the dollar at the moment. Let's see what the euro is doing. Oh, let's check J4X's on there too. Let's see, right? Not there. Not that. There it is. So you see the pressure on it there, just like we have it on Chicago. Where's that at? Right here. You see 4 red dots, and one missing in there, no dot at all, where it tried to get into the buy. And then we go over to the euro and see what the euro's doing. Maybe the euro's losing a little. Yeah, there it is. Just a little bit, because we see the dollar index gaining. And the euro is a big part of the dollar index. It's like 40 or 50%, something like that. I think that's what it is. Let's put the euro up on Chicago J4X. There it is right there. You see that little red developing there, so it's catching on to the same rhythm we're experiencing now. At the same time, you can see the euro is trying to go into a buy for us. Now here on J4X, you can see we are at the top end of the range. So let's see if that rolls over, or sometimes it gets to a top of a range, like here, and then goes on for like 5 or 6 or 7 days still. We'll see. One thing is for sure, it may not go too far, but it might be firmer over the next couple days. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. So in other words, they may close it in a down candle today, but it'll slide into the buy. Now, that's probably the only thing to pay attention to right there, really, out of it all, because look how the weekly is trying to be underneath the weekly sell at the moment. So there's pressure on this. There we are right there. Just a little pressure. It's in the minus, as you can see right there. All right. From there, what else can we say about it? Not much, really. Just that the pressure is. You can see that right there. Oh, okay. There it goes. There's a euro. So it's trying to get green. It's with that green dot we have right there. Oop. Dink. A dink a dink. A dink a dink. A dink a dink. All right. From there, we'll go over to the cable and see what Mr. and Mrs. Cable are doing this morning. Peak inflation. Metho 2000. Peak inflation. Wouldn't that be nice? Peak. Peekaboo. Okay, and then you see the cable doing the same thing, putting some pressure on it right there. Let's see how that weekly too. I mean, that weekly in the cable keeps on finding ways to be down. Look at that. They're even pressing harder on it. But it is flirting with a daily buy as we speak, just like the euro. Only this time, it's a down candle too, it looks like. So we are seeing some of that pressure there. So we're also wondering, okay, who's going to win this battle? If the Swiss franc is starting to trying to, head back down again, then maybe we might be getting close to seeing some weakness in this dollar. The dollar is so strong. Now, what's always odd here in America is the way they talk about the dollar, like as if it's being crushed right now. This morning on a good show that I trust, they came out and they said, well, the Federal Reserve should be worrying about the dollar. And I'm thinking to myself, why would they want to worry about the dollar? It's trading at all-time high territory. Now, it'd be different if it was at all-time low territory. Like the Turkish Lira. But why would they care? But they do. They, because of inflation and I don't know, the way we don't in America pay attention to currencies because it's not that important to us. I know that's hard to say, but our economy really functions on the dollar with no problem. And it's not really, what's a word I can use? It's not like other countries where a lot of imports come in and you have to get currency exchange and so forth. In the United States, we do everything in dollars, and it's no problem whatsoever. People are almost oblivious to the currency market. That's what's so funny about it in many ways is that they don't even realize how it really functions. It's funny when they try to trade it. You don't see as many advertisements to trade currencies as you used to. That's because the dollar is so damn strong. You really, companies need. I think it's we export 25 or 26% of our product, whatever it is. So, whatever it comes down to is we're a big exporter in our manufacturing. Our manufacturing is in the 26th percentile of the world. So we are participating globally, but the way they talk about things doesn't make a lot of sense. That's why I always say I'm Eurocentric when I describe currencies. I'm looking as if I'm from outside the United States. Jordan says, been looking at the dollar yen higher time theme. I know. We keep on talking about it ourselves. We're writing an article on it now. Let's get over there. Let's take a look at the euro. The dollar yen. Yeah, it's backing off today. You can see it right there. It's got a green dot. Still in a buy for 3 days. And it's in a weekly buy since back down in here. So pretty much over this period, was it from here? From March 11th. That's 2. That's 4. That's 6. That's 8. That's 10. That's 12. We went 12 weeks in a weekly buy from 115 all the way up to 131. So, and then flattened out and went into a weekly sell here, which lasted one whole week. The daily sell was interesting. It went on for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Over 2.5 weeks, and then went into the daily buy right there at close to the bottom. And sure enough, then we joined in that week with the weekly buy, and it ran from the daily buy low of or let's just say the 127 area, all the way up to 135ish and change, 135 and a half, and now we've pierced that. So yeah, that's they are smacking this thing. Do you want to see the 4 hour? I think we still have that 4 hour still sitting around if you'd like to see that. Let's see what the 4 hour looks like. There it is. Oh, that's GBP you were looking at. So we can slide that in there. Let's see, USD JPY. Why are we having a problem with this? Cash. Let's cancel that. Try this again. What's up here? Let's see. We're getting there. We got some type of little goofy circly thing going on for whatever reason. And then we'll see what's going on here. There it is. Okay, that's better now. USD. There we go. JPY. There we go. It's filling in nice and quick. That's because it's in the memory now. Yeah, it's sitting in there. Also, minute charts and hour charts are much easier than tick charts. There we go. Getting closer. It should fill in. I imagine this was probably the daily buy number right there. Or yeah, not daily, intraday buy number. Let's see. Waiting for complete history. Well, we'll let that fill in. And we'll go back to the currency itself for a few minutes, or a few seconds. Right there. You can see there that second weekly buy out of what was that, 12 weeks, and then 1 week, and then another 4 weeks now. So we're looking at 16 or 17, 16 out of 17 weeks it's been in a buy since the 115 area. There we go. Yep. Was that the buy or that the buy? Well, I had a red dot, so it's not going to help us on it. That was a minus. Then there's the buy. Okay, so this was the buy. And then it was a very small rally, and it sold off, and then back into the buy again for the move right here. And that's the real moneymaker right there. It was just as much there, too. And we were in a sell for all this. We went into the sell here. Right there. Went into the sell there. And went all the way down to here. So there was great opportunity to make some money in those couple days of 4 hour trading. Follows the system very well. That's the most important thing of all, is that daily, weekly, and intraday should work together very well. All right. From there, let's see. Let's put the J4 on the J4X. Let's put the yen on that. Right there. You can see all that strength on the daily. Lots of strength. And you can see it over on the 4 hour there. It's been rolling over now for... Went into the weekly sell. Weekly sell. Went into the 4 hour sell last bar. So it's catching whatever little slide it is. It went into the sell at 136.05. And now the low is 135.80. So it's definitely pressure, pressure, pressure. And it's not really letting go on any level. They just keep on finding ways to put pressure into the product. I think as long as we keep on seeing the yen having problems, we're going to see the dollar have strength. As much as it doesn't seem to want to go, you can see it. It's playing that game of the yen is really exemplifying it. Matter of fact, I think we said there was panic over the weekend. Now there seems to be somewhat. I saved something here. Same type of panic here on the ECB. Here's the headline. ECB has a huge dilemma: price stability or a bailout nation, or bailout nations. So I didn't read the article. I just saw the headline. I thought it was just worth pointing out. The spreads between German government bonds and those of PIGS, Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain, have skyrocketed in recent weeks. This comes with the European inflation as a record high. Oh, you guys are at 8.1 also. You're in the 8s. Both flying along in the 8th handle. We're just a little bit higher, that's all. Let's see. Don't see anything else in there. ECB Governing Council on Wednesday instructed officials to accelerate work in a new anti-fragmentation instrument after the yield on the Italian bond surged amid signs that the global inflation is becoming more entrenched. That's maybe what that chart is. Let's see what that is. There we go. Eurozone 10-year sovereign bond yields, monthly averages. So Greece is yellow. So back in 2019, it was in the 4s, and we're just about touching 4 now. Let's do Germany. Germany's this bottom one, and that's what we're seeing there. Germany is that bottom one. Ooh, Germany is the bottom one. Let's use this instead. And then, let's see, Spain is black, and that's up in here, feeling the pressure. And oh, look what they've done. They've taken out the 2019 highs. So Spain is cleanly through there. And then who's joining in with it? Who's green? Green is Italy. I see. So Italy and Greece are really feeling it. Interesting. And then Ireland is just cruising along lightly. And Portugal must be... So I figure out which one's Portugal. Oh, I see. The red and black is Portugal. No, it's Spain. Red and black is Spain. And the black is Portugal. So they're pretty much locked together. End result is pressure is building, and they've got to do something. And obviously, they don't have a lot of answers to the problem. They can't buy. As I've said many times on this webinar, they cannot buy their ways out of these problems. These problems are going to stay until they do something really responsible. And this political group doesn't care about responsibility whatsoever. I heard they were blaming Donald Trump yesterday for the inflation and the economy. When he left office in January 6th or whatever it was, GDP was 6.5%. He had brought us back from the craziness of the COVID fear, and gas was trading at a little around $2 a barrel, $2 a gallon. Now it's trading at, when he lost the election, or when they took the election away from him, however you want to phrase it, it was $1.60 a gallon. And they started automatically anticipating the problems. By the time the Putin situation came around, we were in the 360s, 70s already. So it's only gone up 30 some odd percent during the Putin war situation. It pretty much doubled. It doubled. It went from $1.60 to 360. So it went beyond doubling. So, but they were out there yesterday blaming them again, which is crazy. But they do. That's the way they work. Hey, Doc, could you look at the Nikkei? Yeah, let's see what it is. Green inflation. Yeah, that's what it is. Because there is no reason for it. Who needs to save the solar system at this point? I mean, the only way you can save the solar system in their heads is to destroy Earth. That's pretty much the way it is at the moment. The whole solar system's having issues. Let's see, Nikkei. There's the Nikkei. And one of those Feds guys are starting to speak right now, and the stock market seems to be lifting up a little bit. It's up about 60 points from where before they started. So he must have put out they usually put out their speech ahead of time, these Fed people. And there is the Nikkei. Got to change that contract. That's where it settled out on the 13th. So let's put it in the new contract. The Nikkei. It's spinning away. Now we're in September. And we have to add that. September's not in there. How about that? Okay. NKD. Look up. And there is the SEPs. Let's put the, was it SEP and then DEC? So let's put DEC in there too. So this next time we go to fix this, it'll be in there. There we are. Okay. Now, and there it is there. There it is. There we go. So you can see here we're still in the weekly sell from, was it there? Right there. We went into the daily sell there. Yeah, right there. There's the daily sell. Then we tried to get into the buy right here on a red dot. That was real sloppy. And we're above the histogram, and then it gets into the buy there and it rolls over again. It's not really filled in the way I'd like it. I'm not sure what these prices are, but I guess that's because it's Tokyo. Yeah. So they have to gap them at times, but you can see they settled them there and then knocked them down. So now we're playing with the sell again right here, and we're in the weekly sell. So definitely want to think about that right there. So there's the Nikkei. At the same time, we're a couple weeks in the weekly sell. So pressure is on the product there. How's that, 47? Looking all right? Green inflation, yes. Save the solar system, right? I mean, how do they expect to deal with the solar system when SUVs and fossil fuels have the ability to rip a third of Pluto's atmosphere off in 4 years? Honestly. You would think that they would actually look at some of this data and realize how off course they are about being able to do anything on our planet. I mean, you can keep things clean. You know, don't throw trash on the ground. Don't drop chemicals on people or in their neighborhoods and mess up their water. I mean, that's total sense, you know. But thinking that they can control, I mean, I saw a statistic yesterday. They had the Republicans had some type of conference, and the statistic was really fascinating. we've increased the use of fossil fuels and natural gas, and at the same time, the air has become cleaner. So we've increased the amount we use, and at the same time, the air has become cleaner over the last 2 decades from it. So, in other words, using more of it doesn't increase or decrease the quality. It's how you do it, you know? As always, thanks, Doc. As always, 47, glad to. Anybody wants to see anything, just throw it out there. We'll go chase it. And so that is really the real recipe of it all now, is that we don't have enough adult supervision going on when it comes to, we have a government. Yesterday, Biden was out there 2 days in a row. Biden's been talking about how the new green agenda is going to save our world. I mean, this has got to be a criminal thing at this point, and then they make tons of money from it. You know, the supporters and the allies and the political spectrum there, they are making tons of money from this fake stuff. Russia is able to sell their whole oil to other countries, I heard today. Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Matter of fact, I have an article there. Let me see if I can find it. Russia now is the #1 oil producer in the world. That is probably why... let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Russia is the #1... Here it is. Here it comes. Russia overtakes Saudi Arabia as China's top oil supplier. And China imports... Let's see. Chinese imports of Russia crude surged by 55% in May. And I thought I saw something where they were starting to outproduce Saudi Arabia. Either way, they're battling back and forth to who's #1. The United States is not allowed to be #1 anymore. Biden has shut down our oil industry, and he's asking everybody else to produce oil besides us, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Our industry is the cleanest in the world. I don't understand any of that. So obviously, this is some type of financial game that's going on here, because it sure has nothing to do with environment, I can tell you that. It kills me when they talk about clean energy and renewable energy. I can understand clean energy to some extent, but it is F equals ma, which is probably the most important physics formula ever written. F equals ma. Force equals mass times the acceleration. And without a doubt, we produce more clean than anybody else. And at the same time, there's games being played, that's for sure. That's why oil is falling, they said. Russia is able to sell... yeah, more than likely. You know, something's brewing. Like I said, I think the range is between, say, the mid-90s and the 120s. You know, so we've come off the 120s. Now we're probably going to go visit the mid-90s or something like that. Let's go take a look at it. I think we're in a weekly sell, too. I think we came into a weekly sell this week. So our math is working right, that's for sure. Let's jump over to there. Yeah. So we closed on a weekly sell, and it's pressuring its way down now. It's been in a daily sell since here from that peak of 120.88. So it's been in a daily sell for this whole ride down. It joined in, and baby, there it goes. It's winner, winner, chicken dinner. So the math is having no problem there. Well, I don't know about a shortage. You know, there's always delivery problems. You know, I mean, there's places where it's sitting and waiting to be delivered. Processing power problems. You know, in other words, refineries. Biden is shutting our refineries down. The chairman of Chevron said something about, you know, we haven't had a new refinery built since the 1970s. And that was it. And then all of a sudden, you had from there you had him slowing down refineries this last 2 years, where they can't produce and they're blocking them from producing. So a lot of our refineries are running at 50-60%. The objective is, he says, the high prices are going to bring us to a cleaner energy world, and we just have to bear it. That's what he said. He says this stuff. Now the media doesn't really report it very clearly, but I see the videos of him saying it in the news conferences, and then they don't repeat it. They just let it fly by. Everybody like, yeah, it's just Joe talking. Well, Joe is president of the United States and blocking everything. All right. From there, where did we leave off in the currencies? Oh, let's check out Turkish Lira. Do we got everybody? And if anybody wants to see anything, just shout it out. We'll go look at it. Yeah, so obviously he's making money out of the country. Something's going on. So there's oil. Let's look at the Turkish Lira. There we go. And there it is right there, the Turkish Lira. You see it's still battling along, moving up. 1831. Let's see where the dollar is with it. The dollar, that seemed like that drop dead point was 18. So let's see where that's at. Dollar, Turkish Lira, where are you? There you are. Probably in 17 still. 1735, yeah. So it's inching its way up to those yellow dotted lines right there. Sure. The currency that will not be named. Here it comes. It's been a really weird thing. It's been in a daily buy for all this sideways action. And it dips into a sell for a couple of days and then turns into the buy again. Very odd. But you can see it's been locked in this 60 to 55 area. And now it's down to 53. So let's move this over more so you can appreciate it more in action. It's been odd. Goes into sells, goes into the buy. And look at it. It refuses to go into sells in here. That's been very strange from the 60s all the way down to the 50s. Now today it does this a lot. It goes during the trading day. We see it drift underneath. And it's also still in that weekly buy from here in the high 60s. It just refuses to go into a sell. It's not really making a lot of sense anymore. It's the worst I've seen my math go in a long while. But then you got to imagine that Europe doesn't trade it anymore. It's just some American trading. I mean, Dukascopy and Swiss Bank and the rest of them are not trading the currencies. So, but you can see our math has been sloppy at best, if you want to call it that. It's just been bad. The buy was on that day when it made that low of 55 and a half, and it kind of went up and then went sideways for weeks, and it just kept on. I'm telling you, can't tell you how many days I see this thing at this time of the day in a sell, like it is right now. And by the end of the day, they find a way to perk it back up. Remember, we've talked for years here that we really believe this ruble should be in the high 40s, mid 40s, high 40s. 51, things like that. So we are right in the area I think it belongs. Now, it took them to guarantee their currency with gold and oil and minerals and so forth. So, it's made their currency very stable in many different ways now that it's locked to a physical. But it's been very strange. I just look at it and shake my head all the time. I mean, every day it seems like the same way. It must be incredibly thin for our math to be this upside down. I've never seen our math this upside down being in a daily buy. Normally, I could relate to this with the weekly buy if we were, like, say, in a daily sell right here. But let's see if we can fix these dots, too. There's probably a lot of red dots. Let's see, scaling to... Where are they? Inputs. Oh, I see. Okay, 3. Where are the red dots? Not many red dots. There they are. I'm not even sure what that line is for anymore. We can get rid of it at this point. Yeah, just can't. Yeah, it's a red dot there now. It's below the zero line. But by the end of the day, will it last? I doubt it. It'll probably bounce up, probably hang out in the 54s or 55s, something like that. But it's just been one of my more frustrating things to watch, because it just refuses to get into the sell anywhere's in here. No doubt it's not going up or down much, but it just drives me crazy that doesn't. And things like this put energy into it. Now today we're flirting with that. Maybe it'll roll over, but look at the weeklies even. We've never seen this the way it functions now, because it's locked to a commodity. So we find it all very strange. But again, 2/3, if not more, of the world are not trading it anymore. So it must be that, and you got to figure that the one that is trading it, the yuan, the Chinese yuan, that's not even a real currency. So I mean, none of it makes any sense. I mean, that's a fixed product by its government, not by locked to a current. See, they always threaten to do that too. The Chinese yuan, they always threaten to make it locked to gold or oil or something like that, but it never happens because they couldn't do that. They can't deliver. Whereas Russia is very happy to deliver oil. If you want to change your currency into oil, they'll give it to you. They'll do that transaction easily. They'll be very glad to do that. So that's the reason why the Chinese, I call the China currency not a currency. It's more of a fixing, like a morning fixing, like the old Lombard rate in London. All right, from there we go over to the Canadian. There it is right there. There's Canadian. And it slipped into a sell yesterday, and it's trying to perk up, and it's in the weekly buy, so you can't really take the short. And now it's trying to lift up, but we're not getting the daily to lift up. So, that usually links to the oil, which you would assume would be running up, because the oil is heading down. It's losing value. So you would think that that's why we're in the weekly. We're in that weekly buy, because it's anticipating that the oil was going to go down in value. They knew. Someone knew. And then from there we slide over to, let's see. So if we go from CAD, we go to gold. That's what it is. We jump over to gold, take a quick look at gold, and then we go to the South African Rand. Let's just put the Canadian up here real quick on J4X. There it is right there. You see the little pressure that we're seeing, just like the two red dots we have going on with it. And then let's put the South African Rand up there. Right there. And gold itself is up a little bit today. Trying to play with the daily buy. That's interesting. And it's in the weekly buy. So this has been curious, and the way the strength had kicked out on this. Not really going anywhere from these signals. It's really sloppy. And check out silver. You see the same situation. It's flirting with the daily sell now, and it never got into the weekly buy to begin with. So there is the dollar CAD. Now let's slide over to the South African Rand with it. Right there. And that makes sense. It's trying to lift back up. We're playing with the weekly buy. And that's probably, when we talk, from looking at our numbers, but the numbers are not telling these big future events. We kind of think that these metals will do better in 23, which will make almost no sense at all. In 23, we'll probably start to see the peak in inflation, and we'll probably see the gold market start to lift at the same time. It'll be like, wait a minute, what's wrong with this picture? We used to, for centuries upon centuries, when inflation kicked up, gold went up in value. Not now. Now that inflation's going down, we're going to see gold go up in value. Well, don't be surprised if that happens. It seems like that's the nature of it at the moment. Now, from there, we jump over to the Mexican peso. Oh, no, we do the yen. That's what we used to do. The yen. We looked at that. Let's go look at that 4 hour in the yen still. Let's see what it's doing now. And it's still pressured on. Did it make a new low? It did make a new low, didn't it? Yeah, it went to 868. The low was 81. So it kept on dropping more. Then let's take a look at the Mexican peso. There it is right there. Peso moving through the 0.23 now, right there. See if it holds on. Oop. Let's see if it holds. Let's see if we can lock that in. There it is. Let's see if it kind of hangs around there and then tries to lift up. I would think it might lift up. We'll see. And that could be the real action of it all, is that peso bounces off that 2-3 for the upside, since we're in a weekly buy in the peso at the moment. All right, from there, that completes all the currencies we look at. And then we can drift over to look at the rest of the metals. We'll look at copper, and we saw silver, but we can look at it again. There it is. But remember, traders, if anybody wants to see anything, just shout it out. Yeah, there's a silver. Flirting with a sell. Still in that weekly sell. Let's check out copper. There we go. Did we get our 87? No, we got 88. We were looking for like 387. So we got 388 on the copper. It's been in the daily sell since this topping area here. And we've been in the weekly sell all this week here, going into there. So that is the action we're seeing in the metals complex. Now from there, we'll drift over into the energy sector, see what's going on with nat gas. There is nat gas. You can see it's towards its low. That's the one that's going to expire in the next couple of days. And here is August natural gas. It's doing the same thing, same pressure, and a weekly sell. So the pressure is on the natural gas. Let's see how European gas is. We are hoping that we see, what is it, right there. We are hoping that we get under 27 again in the European natural gas. Hoping. There it is right there, European, and it is 20. Good, under 27. So we're seeing all of them start to back off a little bit in here, which is a very positive thing. Let's see. What else can we say about that? Don't really see much more when it comes to the energy sector. You know, the pressure's been on. We can take a look at the stock indices, and we'll finish it off with that. Also, at this point, the Fed has been yakking away, and the stock market is kind of moving back up to before we started. All right, from there, let's look at. There is the S&P 500. You can see it's still in the buy, but in a weekly sell still. It has not been able to lift up. So that pressure on the product is really there. Let's check out the intraday. There's the intraday. There's a nice little pop. Oop, didn't mean to do that, but what the heck. It went into a buy there. I guess right there. No red and green. A couple red and greens in a row. And you buy the open. That was a nice little move. What's that? But it's not a big move. It's only like a 5-point move or 4.5-point move. We're starting to weaken here a little bit now. There it is right there. Let's see how that looks for a few seconds, and then we'll jump over to the Tech 100. When it closes that bar, we'll jump. Let's see if it gets into a sell or stays in the buy. It looks like it's going to try to fight to stay in the buy. No, that's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard for it to... Oh, there we go. It closed in a sell. And we'll come back and look and see how that sell does. Now let's go over to there and look at the NQs. There it is right there. NQs are trying to move down too. They've been in a daily buy for like 4 days now. This is the fourth day, but they're in a weekly sell. They can't get out of that. So there is a lot of noise in this whole marketplace. Now let's take a look at the intraday there. And as you can see there, it's still moving down. Let's check out. Yep, still moving down there. Now let's go check out NQs. It's doing the same thing now. It's joining in, but it hasn't hit. Notice that it hasn't hit another tick or couple ticks up. There it goes, new bar. And it just missed going into the sell. So it's just flirting with it at the moment. That little slide there went into the buy here. And ran up there. 20 points is that? No, 10 points. 10 points? Yeah, 20 points. It ran 20 points from that intraday buy. And now we are still, this is a 936 contract bar. So we're still looking at 400 contracts to be traded. You can see it right here in the little white box. And this will put the confirm in. But one of the things that makes me nervous always is when you see this little blue line way down like that, makes me concerned. Because when it goes into a sell, it's usually the end of the sell-off. This one was pretty good, but it's still lifted up. So more than likely it'll try to lift up after when it finally does confirm. We're only 200 contracts away from that. And we're only 160 contracts away. Let's see if we can get something more interesting. See if it. I just want to see it close in the sell, and then we'll go off to the last of them, and that is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Ooh, it's close. It's trying to lift up and get. Ah, look at that! It's not getting into the sell, and that's something. It missed it. Wow, it's gotten so slow. Look at that. It missed going into a sell. Now it's going to try to go into a sell on this one. Got to wait and see if it breaks down, but so far it's not happening. That's why we watch those little dashed blue lines, cyan lines. When it's down that far, you know that there's going to be some pressure to turn it back up. Now let's go over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average right there. And it's been in a daily buy for a couple days since right here. And you can see we're in a weekly sell, so they're all doing the same thing with that weekly sell thing. Now let's go over to here. Look at us making highs. Nice. And you never got into a sell. And that's something. Let's take a look at it there. There it is right there. That was a nice sell. This was a slushy buy. Went into a sell there. And it's back into the buy now. Right in here somewhere. Lots of dots. Red and green dots. Lots of volatility. All right, traders. This is Doc. We're finishing. We're in the middle of the week now, which is really cool. And so what we'll do is we will see you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. So happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. All right, traders. Catch you later. Have a safe and smart trading day.